Okay, my name is Nick Pelletier. I am a graduate of the Islamic University in Medina. I have worked as an imam in the Muslim community as well as doing public relations outreach. I'm currently the director of Dawah and Outreach for the Islamic Center in Irving. So after I graduated from the Islamic University, the first thing that I was trying to do was survive. I was trying to get out of Medina, which, sounds a lot easier than it is. And, my wife is not from the United States, she's from the UK, so I was just basically trying to get them settled so that I could come back here and try to figure out how to get a job so that I could feed myself, feed my family, bring them over here eventually and set up shop. When you graduate from the Islamic University, or when you're coming from one country to another, it's really a big jump. There's a lot of expenses, there's a lot of stuff that you probably didn't think about before you make that move. That's really difficult in terms of expenses and just a lot of logistics that you're not necessarily thinking of. You're just thinking, how do I get home and how do I get my family with me? And then when you get here, reality hits in that, man, you need a lot of stuff to set up, especially if you've got a wife and kids, from a job, an apartment, clothing, because maybe your thobes that you're wearing might not all be the extent of what you're going to be wearing. Here are the weather conditions. If somebody doesn't know, I'm the type of person, I've got a lot of goals, a lot of plans, a lot of things that I'd like to do, a lot of things that I'd like to see accomplished. And I really care a lot about my people, the people from my country, the American people, and I really want to see that the message of Islam reaches to them. Working as an imam under the current systems that we have wasn't exactly something that was going to really foster my ability to reach out to all of those people, because you're so caught up in either the politics of the center or you're caught up in their vision for what they see as what they need, and a lot of times that revolves around their own personal needs, the needs of their children, not so much really focusing on dawah and the development of those people who actually accept Islam. Yeah, after that I moved on to a position that was definitely more up my alley. I took the job as Director of Outreach or Dawah for the Islamic Center of Irving. And this is probably one of the larger masajid in the country, and it's also, as many people may have seen at some point in time or another, it's under the spotlight because of a lot of the stuff that's going on. But it's definitely provided me much more opportunity to interact with non-Muslims and interact with people who've just recently accepted Islam and focus a lot more on their spiritual development. So my personal goal is to make sure that the message of Islam reaches every single household in America. Whether they want to accept it or not, that's not really my problem. My issue is to deliver the message, and I feel that a lot of times people think that Islam has spread to all four corners of the earth. The reality is that when you really start talking to people, they've never heard of Islam, or what they have heard about Islam is distorted, or it's lacking a whole lot of content. And so most of the time when I talk to people, you find that they're astonished. They, oh, I didn't know that. And so there's a lot of information gaps that I think I would like to be able to, even on my own personal time, my own personal projects, fill in those gaps and really get that message of Islam out to people in a way that is, digestible by the, general American public, because not everybody is going to listen to every style, and of course not everybody's going to want to listen to me, but I think that there's definitely some areas where we can do a whole lot of work in terms of creating videos and content so that people are able to hear the message of Islam and have it relatable to them. I started working with my own YouTube page. What I did was I collected some funds to put together a small studio, and I started a project called Family First, and that was basically trying to look at the fact that broken homes have such a negative impact on society, and how we could really have a major impact on society if we corrected the family unit. And the way that we would do that would be looking at individual family relationships and trying to improve them one at a time. So when I was in Medina, as a family, we wanted to try to network with some other people, so we started a website called Ebi Homeschools Too, which is basically My Father Homeschools Too, kind of a spin-off on the idea that a lot of mothers are the only ones that homeschool their children. So we did a lot of different things. We were giving out free materials with a Dawah center that was in the southern region of Saudi Arabia, and so we just recently started doing general homeschooling advice on Mondays, and on Fridays we do Q&A. We're always being asked about like an Islamic studies curriculum or an Islamic history curriculum, and with all of the knowledge that we got from studying in the university, it's a shame that we're not really disseminating all of that to the people. And one of the areas that's really lacking is our Muslim youth, and we see that the opportunities for our Muslim youth to really be educated about Islam are very minimal. So one of the projects that we're working on right now is to create an online Islamic academy geared towards Muslim children and Muslim youth. That is basically going to be a project where the kids can go online, register, log in, have their online portal, and almost have their own institute that they are registered with, and they watch videos of qualified instructors explaining these different Islamic subjects to children, but not in a fluff type manner, but really getting into the subject so that the child is walking away with a very solid Islamic education. I'd say it would be almost like a soft version of a university for kids. Yeah, so the lessons will probably be no more than 20 minutes. We know that the kids have a short attention span, and we kind of want to make it as lively as possible. That's why we'll have an instructor teaching an actual student similar to their age group, so that the child sort of relates to it a lot more, and the language of the child is also relatable. It's kind of like when you're teaching a second language, you have to grade your language to your audience. And so if you're teaching a child as you're teaching the audience, what you're doing is you're already setting yourself up to grade your language to the audience that you're targeting. I mean, really the biggest obstacle is funding and time. Time costs money, and you need money to do a lot of the things that we want to pull off. I mean, just getting a quality website costs well over $2,000. You're not talking about a simple template that you're going to put up there. You want it to look nice, you want it to be user friendly, you want to make sure that it's maintained and upkept very well. On top of that, you have to do some level of marketing to make sure that people know exactly what you're doing and the product that you're going to provide for them. And there's also additional resources that will require a lot of graphic design for, and production of these things, and initial production of anything. There's a cost to it. I mean, there could be much larger costs, but we're not really even factoring the fact that to have people teach all of these subjects for an extended period of time could be quite costly. But at this point in time, we're really just gonna do as much of it as we can without having to raise funds for that. And then eventually, inshallah, if the site takes off, the idea is to have it on a monthly membership basis, and eventually if there's enough people there, then that might provide for additional educators to come in and work with other youth of various ages, teaching them the specific sciences that they themselves focused in their studies at the Islamic University, for example, or maybe another institution. So I mean, the easiest way is through my Facebook page. You can just search Nick Pelletier on Facebook. The other way that would be easy to sort of follow these up are through the GoFundMe pages. If somebody wanted to just keep up with the progress or even donate, then they would go to gofundme.com/spreadislam, or for the other project it would be gofundme.com/Islam4kids.